Today's video, I'm going to talk about a time when I got to my breaking point and the things that I learned to get me through. If you didn't know, I'm Myesha, life strategist for women who want it all, author, speaker, and your new best friend. 2020 was a roller coaster of a year for me. I started the year at the heaviest weight that I had ever been. I started losing weight. It was almost like God knew what was coming and said, let me help you manage your appetites now. The year started off, my sister has seizures, and she had like 8 or 9 seizures back to back, and they wouldn't stop. And she was in a medicated coma state in ICU to stop her seizures. My dad had the stroke where they just dropped him off. We had to drop him off at the emergency room and couldn't go in. COVID was happening. I was just coming off of being excited about going into this brand new venue that we had built, and that stopping. Now my sister was in the hospital. My dad was in the hospital. My youngest was diagnosed with a medical issue affecting even her fertility at the time, and she was 6. My other daughter was dealing with mental health issues and depression. We lost my sister-in-law to cancer at 37 years old. My husband's, at the time, aunt, she died maybe 2 weeks later. And it was a hell of a year. We were all at home managing all of these emotions, all of these circumstances, trying to do the best that we could. And I know I got to a breaking point. For me, I have an immense amount of strength. I'm very well aware of it. It takes a lot to stop me. This is what I've had since I was a child. My dad was shot 6 times and put into a body bag and pronounced dead at the scene, and woke up and yelled, "Take me to Long Beach Memorial." And that's how he lived, close range. So I always say that that same spirit and tenacity that was in my dad to get the body bag unzipped is what's in my body. I just, for some reason, all of life have been able to take an immense amount of pressure, pain, and move forward. So when I say I'm at my breaking point, you have to know that is probably 5x what a normal person can manage. And I'm leaving out a lot when I'm telling this story. I got to my end. And what was the most uncomfortable thing about all of it was my loss of control. I needed to control the circumstances of my life. I felt safer that way. I felt more comfortable that way. I wanted to know what was going to happen before it happened. I wanted to prepare myself. I like to know in the movie what was going to happen before it happened because I just didn't want to be in suspense. When I got to my breaking point, I thought I would die. I thought, emotionally, I cannot accept these conditions as they are. I'm going to just shrivel away and die, because that's what kept me performing at a high level, was controlling everything so that I never got to a breaking point, so everything always worked, and then everybody was always happy. That's not real, and that's not life. It's not sustainable. When I got to that point and I ran out of gas, the first thing that left was the ability to control the outcome. I couldn't fix my response to those problems. I couldn't fix how I felt. I had to let go of the control. Breaking and allowing everything to fall apart is not the end. On the other side of that is something beautiful. So if you're right now at your breaking point, maybe the circumstances have mounted themselves up against you, the external things in your life, maybe it's the people, maybe it's yourself. You've been running from yourself for so long and it's catching up with you. Maybe it's age, maybe it's sickness. Something is happening that's bringing you deeper and causing what is to be broken and shattered. Here are a few things that I think will be helpful for you. Number 1, everyone alive has a different breaking point. We look at the person next to us and say, well, Johnny Joe had cancer and went to work every day, therefore I should too. No, Or this person lost everything. Like I looked at the book of Job and I'm looking at Job saying, wow, he had sickness. He lost his house. He lost his family. He lost all these things. He lost his health. I should be more comfortable because I'm not Job. So we compare and we think that other people's breaking points should be ours. Everyone has a different point because everyone has a different assignment, a different purpose, a different meaning attached to their set of circumstances. Give yourself permission to be where you are. For whatever reason, things have mounted up to a point where you now feel something has to give. That is okay. Number 2, breakdowns are not a negative thing, even though it feels that way. If you canvas all of your life and you remember stories of people that have breakdowns all over the place, did it ever kill them? I don't mean like mental breakdowns and have to be locked up. I just mean in our context, how we consider I'm at my breaking point. It's different for everybody, but for the most part, when you think about it, has a person died after going through a breaking point? I can't think of anybody who lost a job, who lost a house, who lost a car, and that killed them. What that means is we go through breaking points for a purpose. And on the other side, we find the meaning of it. The circumstances aren't comfortable, they're negative, they're hurtful, they're whatever they need to be. But the result is you grow as a person, you survive it, you live through it, you find new ways of living life. You make meaning out of it. You walk away saying, that was the hardest time of my life, and here's what I've learned. Even though it feels like the world is caving in on you, that you're gonna collapse, that you're gonna die, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. Hold on to the support system you have. Hold on to what you know. Hold on to what is true. We like to focus on what is being lost or what is elusive or what is out there. But what do you know? Hold on to that in those moments. The breaking point isn't gonna kill you. It may actually do you good on the other side. Number 3, our breaking points help us manage fear and the loss of control. We're afraid. I can tell you over the years, 20 years being a pastor and being with people, the number of stories I've heard, hundreds, maybe even thousands of people going through all kinds of scenarios in life. It's the fear. I don't know what is gonna happen. And I'm so afraid, I'm petrified that it's affecting all areas of my life right now. I'm gonna lose my job, or what if I lose my job, or what if I don't get hired back, or what if I don't make my rent, or what if I don't get accepted into the college program, or what if he leaves me? All these what if, all of it's fear. Stress placed on outcomes that may never ever come. When you're at a breaking point and you're observing the conditions around you and you're saying, I can't take anymore, one more thing happens, I don't know what I'm gonna do. What we're doing is we're surrendering in that moment. We're saying, I am no longer in control of the outcome of all of these things in my life. And I willingly release it over to God, to circumstances, to the universe, to whatever you believe. It's not mine anymore. Breaking down was the only thing that taught me to have a new relationship with control. Since that season in my life, I only control what I can't control, which is my response to anything. I no longer look for circumstances. I was talking to my sister the other day, and I asked her, like, do you worry as much about your daughter now that she's in college? And she says, of course, I worry about her all the time. And I say, well, when my son's out driving, I just don't think of it. It's not that I'm not concerned for him. It's the fact that why suffer twice? If something is going to happen, it's going to happen. And me thinking about what might happen only invites me to suffer twice. So I'm gonna live with the expectation that you leave in peace, you come home in peace. And should life bring me another scenario, I will be ready to meet it when it comes. I have no control over that. Here I am in my home, in my space, living my life, and I'm putting all my energy toward preventing something I have no control over. The breakdown, me going through that experience, changed my relationship with the need to control outcomes forever. Number 4, Chuck Jagger was an amazing man. Many people at his time in the 1940s, 30s were trying to break the sound barrier. and they would get in the plane and they would get to a certain altitude, to a certain speed, and the plane would just start to shake and rattle. And it got so frightening and so uncomfortable that they let off the gas. Some of them, their planes crashed, things happened. Chuck Jagger saw what was taking place and decided to do something differently. He got into a similar plane and he got to a certain altitude, a certain pressure, a certain speed. And the plane started to shake and rattle. It reminds me of life when the storms of life are just brewing and it feels uncomfortable. And what many of us do is we let off the gas. We start to say, oh no, what's going on? I don't know what's gonna happen. I've never been on the other side, so I better just retreat. I let off the gas. I go back to what I know. I go back to the experiences that I've had. Chuck Jagger said no. When the plane started to shake and rattle, he stepped on the gas. He broke the barrier, the sound barrier. It changed everything. And when he landed the plane and everybody came to him and the news reporters and everybody put the microphones and asked, okay, tell us. How was it? And he said, you never believe how smooth it is on the other side. This is a testament to us that on the other side of our breaking points, we never know how smooth it'll be until we get there. We don't have to stop when it's rattling. Now I consider these breaking points as a moment to remind me of my limitations, to remind me that I'm in a world that's beyond me, to remind me that there's room for me to grow, to remind me that I'm human and life happens, that these times aren't for me to let off the gas and to just go backwards or to allow it to take over me. They're for me to step on the gas and make it to the other side. My invitation for you today is welcome in. I want to get to the other side of this. I want to see what life is like on the other side of this breaking point. It may be here to break you down, but it's not going to kill you. And you will never believe how smooth it is on the other side. If you're watching, listening today, I want to hear from you. What feels like a breaking point in your life right now? What in what I said today is speaking directly to you? Let me know in the comments. I want to leave you with this thought. You are so much more than your circumstance. You are more than what's happening in your life. You can do this. You will do this. I'm going to continue the conversation in the comments below. Like, subscribe, comment, turn on the notification bell. We're all in this together, finding our way back home. I'm so glad that we spent this moment together.